This is Mitsubishi's brand new L200 pickup. I say brand new, but the L200 has been with us since 1978, which makes it, coincidentally, exactly the same age as me. I'll leave you to decide which of us has weathered better. I've been thoroughly abusing the L200 this week and making the most of its maximum 1-ton payload because, as you can see, my house is a building site. But today is a day of rest and relaxation, and I'm off down to Goodwood Motor Circuit to meet my petrol head Bezzy, Vicki Butler Henderson, and persuade her to come for a spot of lunch with me. Before we head off, I just want to draw your eye to a few of these fantastic new design details. This really is a great looking pickup. This is one of the best colours I've seen on a vehicle ever. It is Sunflare Orange. These great rugged 18-inch alloys provide lots of travel for off-roading. There are impressively premium LED headlights and puddle lamps. We love the Barbarian X decal kit. At the back, we've got a soft opening and closing tailgate. It's got a wading depth of 600 millimetres and a maximum permissible towing load of 3.5 tonnes, which makes this really versatile. The new L200 pickup is packed with advanced safety systems like you'd expect to find in a premium family car. It's got forward collision mitigation, which means if it senses you're about to crash, it will warn you both audibly and visibly. Blind spot warning, it'll do the same warning if it thinks that you're about to pull out in the path of something overtaking you. Rear cross traffic alert if it thinks you're going to reverse out into traffic, which I find really useful coming out of my drive. Front and rear parking sensors and a rear 360-degree camera, which is incredibly useful given the length of the vehicle. The infotainment system, the graphics are really clear, really sharp. It's got smartphone connectivity for Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, 2 USB ports in the front and quite unusually 2 in the rear. If you've got kids like mine who need to charge their iPads and their phones constantly, that's very handy for keeping them quiet. Hi! I'm here. Are we going for lunch?
Well, it is lunchtime, but that means that Goodwood track's free. So we'll just go for a couple of laps and then some off-roading, okay?
Oh, okay, but slowly. I've got a wheelbarrow in the back and I hate it when you drive.
Well, I don't quite know what slow means, but let's give it a go. Out.
Well, at least I'm in the right seat. I really like the fact that they've got paddle shift here on the column.
Yeah, they're big.
Yeah, and it makes you feel a bit like an SUV. Oh, you've cracked it! Enough of the track stuff, should we get a little bit dirty?
I love it when you talk dirty. Let's put a little bit of mud about, but be careful of my stomach and the contents.
Yeah. Now, I need to talk to you about the Super Select 2 4-wheel drive system. Oh yeah.
Please do.
So at the minute we are in 2 high, which is rear wheel drive. So all the power goes to the back. Do you know what's under the bonnet?
Big fat engine.
A 2.3 litre turbo diesel with 150 horsepower, but perhaps most importantly for this type of vehicle, it's got 400 Newton meters of torque, so it can tow.
And that's quite low.
It does, yeah, from 2,000 RPM. Now, a very interesting point
Don't
is,
flatter yourself.
is that you can go from 2-wheel drive into 4-wheel drive mode at anything up to 62 miles an hour. So you can make that switch at any speed up to that. So that means that you can then travel on the motorways in full-on 4-wheel drive mode, which is excellent if you hit a particularly nasty patch of weather.
Yeah, that's also quite unusual for pickups, that you can be in 4-wheel drive at motorway speeds. That's good.
And that you can switch it at such high speeds too.
Yep.
I also have hill descent controls.
I was wondering what these buttons are.
Oh yeah, and I can turn that on at anything up to 12 miles an hour.
Right, which doesn't sound like much, but off-roading, that's plenty.
Yeah, exactly. And then I can control it via the brakes or the throttle to speed it up or slow it down. Now, when it gets particularly heavy, so we need to come to a stop now, we can put it in 4 high locking diff or 4 low. And then when you're in the locking diff modes, you get a choice of settings.
Oh la la.
May I ask you to press those settings for me? Mud and snow.
Mud and snow.
Yeah. Sand. Gravel. And rock.
That sounds serious.
Yeah, rock's a super serious one. But let's put it back into 2-wheel drive because I like my rear-wheel drive, and of course it's the most fuel economic as well.
That's very unusual of you to bother thinking about fuel. Watch my wheelbarrow. It's an expensive wheelbarrow.
Yeah, looks it.
And I've got and I've got a rake.
What on earth do you need a rake for?
Stuff.
Your hair.
Well done. I see lunch has turned into high tea because you spent so long messing around on the circuit, as usual.
You're very welcome. Do you know what? I was really impressed with the car's off-road ability, and the function that you can switch from 2-wheel drive to 4-wheel drive on the move is a really useful thing to have.
Yeah, it's properly versatile. You know, the L200 has got a 41-year-old heritage, much like myself. And yet this updated, refreshed, revitalised L200 feels properly dynamic.
Cheers to that.
Chin chin.
Builder's tea, offs.